it does seem unlikely that there will be enough support from Republicans to succeed in terms of winning an actual conviction. So is there some credit in that point that the Republicans have been making that all of this might just be a pointless exercise?
Well, look, there's is it moot as a constitutional question? Is it moot as a political question? Well, that's for the Republicans themselves. The second question is well, actually, truth to be told, both questions are for the Senate to determine. But just because I think, look, the argument made by the House managers today is that to say that an official who has left office is no longer subject to the impeachment process. There's clear precedent in the United States history for that not case. You can't violate your oath of office and then quickly resign, thereby to avoid any sanction. And there are plenty of cases, and one very important case in American history involving a cabinet official back in just after the Civil War, where that was the case. So, and as the House managers put it today, they don't want to create what they would call the January exception, that a president, in the period between the election and the new president taking office, essentially has a get-out-of-jail-free card, that his actions still, or her actions still as president, are somehow immune from any of the powers given to the Congress to impeach a president for high crimes and misdemeanors. That was clearly not the intent of the founders when the Constitution was written. And so I think that case was actually made very persuasively, and Trump's lawyers conceded as much. But it was fascinating, Ash, that even Mitch McConnell couldn't bring himself to even vote for the constitutionality of the trial itself, despite in the immediate aftermath of the January 6th insurrection going into the Senate and essentially laying it all at Trump's feet.
It was a bit of a bizarre opening, wasn't it, from Trump's lawyer? What do we know about what the Trump's team's strategy really will be if you're dealing with the trial this week?
Yeah, great question, Ash, isn't it? Look, the legal team for the former president, they've had trouble retaining talent, as it were, and indeed, it looked like they were ad-libbing a little bit, particularly the first lawyer who spoke on behalf of the president today, saying they were sort of adjusting their strategy on the fly in response to what they said was a very persuasive presentation by the House managers, essentially the prosecutors, bringing the case from the House of Representatives to the Senate. Apparently that didn't go over too well with former President Trump. There's a few media reports saying he found their performance lackluster, and the word meandering's been used a lot to describe it. I think part of it, though, again, back to your earlier point, Ash, the brute politics of this is that the votes are not going to be there for conviction. So to some extent, it kind of doesn't matter what they say is the truth of it, so long as they don't embarrass themselves intellectually or embarrass the president, the former president, too much. I think the votes are there for Trump. And indeed, when you've got only 56 senators, only 6 Republicans agreeing with the proposition that the proceeding itself is constitutional, it's hard to imagine they're going to get to the 67 required for a conviction here. And I think that's always been the case. And I think that sort of means that the expectations about the competence and the authority of Mr. Trump's legal team can diminish appropriately.